Introduction. This isn't just another self-help book. This is a wake-up call, a battle cry for the undisciplined parts of you that keep sabotaging your potential. You already know what's holding you back. It's not the world, it's not your past, it's not the people around you. It's the lack of control over your words, over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your habits. The truth is, if you can't control your mouth, you'll talk yourself out of your own greatness. If you can't control your mind, you'll drown in overthinking. If you can't control your mood, you'll collapse under pressure. And if you can't control your money, you'll stay broke financially and mentally. This audiobook is built to rewire your mindset. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just raw truth, mental fire, and step-by-step intensity to forge the discipline you've been avoiding. You don't need more time, you need more control. And it starts here. With your decisions, with your standards, with your focus. This is about ownership. It's about power. And it's about finally becoming someone who doesn't just talk about change, but is change. Chapter 1. Shut your mouth, open your power. You talk too much. That's your weakness. That's where your power leaks out. Every time you speak without control, every time you open your mouth to explain, defend, react, justify, complain, gossip, or beg for approval, you trade your strength for scraps. You give the world too much access to your spirit. You let too many people in who never earned the right to be there. Silence is a shield. Silence is strategy. But most people don't understand that, because most people would rather feel important than be in control. You've been conditioned to believe that being loud equals being powerful. But look closely. The most dangerous people say the least. They move in silence. They calculate. They listen more than they speak. They absorb more than they release. And when they speak, every word lands like a blow. You don't feel the need to scream when you've built the discipline to sit in your own strength. You don't feel the urge to interrupt, defend, or react when your confidence is rooted in action, not approval. But most people never get to that point, because they never shut up long enough to build anything real. Every time you run your mouth without thinking, you risk your purpose. You sabotage your growth. You reveal your emotions, your fears, your insecurity. You give the enemy a map to your weak spots. You give critics the tools to destroy you. You give the world access to the parts of you that should be safe. But when you learn to keep your mouth shut, when you learn to bite your tongue and channel your energy into action instead of argument, everything changes. You stop being predictable. You stop being emotionally exposed. You stop handing your enemies the advantage. You want power, control your mouth. It starts there. Control the need to respond. Control the urge to be seen. Control the craving to be heard. Because most of the time, your need to talk is nothing but fear in disguise. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being overlooked. Fear of being forgotten. But here's the truth. Greatness never begs to be seen. Greatness doesn't scream. It radiates. It commands attention through presence, not noise. And if you have to shout to prove your worth, you've already lost the battle. Shut your mouth. Stop telling people your plans. Build it in silence. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't respect you. Let your results speak louder than your defense. Stop announcing your moves. Let them feel the aftershock when you hit. Because the real ones, the real warriors, they don't announce war. They strike. They move in shadows. They speak with precision. They don't waste words trying to convince the world they're serious. They are serious, and that's enough. Every word you speak is energy. Every sentence is a seed. Ask yourself, what are you planting with your mouth? Chaos or clarity? Drama or discipline? Weakness or wisdom? Are you building yourself or breaking yourself every time you speak? Are your words feeding the man you're becoming or resurrecting the one you're trying to kill? You have to understand this. Talking is easy. Talking is cheap. Talking gives the illusion of progress. It tricks your brain into feeling like you've done something. But nothing changes through talking alone. The people who win are the ones who do more than they say. The ones who use silence as fuel. The ones who get up every day and prove their worth through consistency, not conversation. You don't need to tell people what you're going to do. Just do it. You don't need to explain why you're cutting them off. Just cut them off. You don't need to justify your grind. Just grind. If you're still seeking applause, you're not ready. If you're still chasing validation, you're not ready. If you still need to tell everyone what you're doing to feel strong, you're not strong yet. Because when you're truly locked in, when your discipline is real, when your growth is authentic, you don't need to say a word. Your presence speaks for itself. Your focus speaks for itself. Your results speak for themselves, but silence takes strength. That's why most people can't do it. It takes power to hold your tongue when you want to lash out. It takes strength to stay quiet when you've been disrespected. It takes self-control to not defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you, and that's exactly why you need to practice it. Because if you can't control your mouth, you can't control your life. If you can't control your tongue, you'll never control your destiny. Your words shape your world, so stop throwing them around like they don't matter. Let people talk. Let them run their mouths. Let them doubt you. Let them spread lies, throw shade, try to provoke you. Let them, because your job is not to respond. Your job is to rise. Your job is to execute. Your job is to get so locked in, so focused, so unshakably calm that your silence becomes a roar. Because nothing shakes weak people more than someone who doesn't flinch, someone who doesn't react, someone who stays composed under pressure. That's control. That's power. You have to stop trying to win verbal wars with people who've already lost their battle with mediocrity. You have to stop explaining yourself to people who aren't even trying to understand. You have to stop lowering yourself to the level of noise when you were built to rise in silence. Because every time you get dragged into meaningless conversations, every time you feed drama, every time you try to defend yourself, you lose time, you lose energy, you lose focus. Learn the power of not responding. Let your silence be the slap. Let your absence speak volumes. Let your grind be the response they never saw coming. Let your transformation be the revenge. Not words, not threats, not anger, just results. Ruthless, undeniable results. You've got to be dangerous, but in control. You've got to be powerful, but silent. You've got to be so locked in on your purpose that you don't even notice the noise around you. You've got to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You've got to stop bleeding energy from your mouth. You've got to stop wasting strength on reactions that do nothing for your future. When you control your mouth, you sharpen your mind. You become more aware. You hear things others miss. You sense energy. You spot opportunity. You move with precision. And when you do speak, it hits different, because silence makes your words valuable. Silence makes you unpredictable. Silence makes people respect what you say, because they know you don't waste words. And that's the shift. That's the new you. The version of you who doesn't need to be heard to feel powerful. The version of you who doesn't explain, doesn't beg, doesn't announce, just works, just builds, just ascends. While the world talks, you transform. While they run their mouths, you run your mission. While they chase applause, you chase greatness. So shut your mouth and open your power. Because once you do, no one, not doubt, not distraction, not disrespect, can touch you. You'll be too far ahead, too disciplined, too strong. The world will notice, not because you told them who you are, but because you became it and made no noise in the process. Chapter 2. Silence is strength, not weakness. You've been lied to. You were taught that silence means weakness, that quiet means submission, that being loud means you're winning. But that's the thinking of the undisciplined. That's the mindset of the insecure. They can't sit in silence because they haven't developed the strength to deal with their own noise. They haven't developed the maturity to understand what silence really is. Silence is control. Silence is focus. Silence is war. The quiet ones, they're the ones watching everything, calculating, preparing, studying every move. And when they strike, it's surgical, precise. Final. Weak people need volume. They need noise to distract from the chaos inside. They talk over others because they're afraid of being exposed. They scream to feel seen. They react to every little thing. Their lives are run by emotion, by impulse, by the need to prove something. But strong people, They sit in silence. They know what they're capable of. They don't have to announce it. They don't have to prove it. They live it. Every second. Every decision. Every disciplined choice. They don't scream it. They embody it. If you want to build something unshakable, start by mastering the silence. Sit with yourself in the dark. Sit with the doubt. Sit with the pain. Sit with the boredom. Most people can't do it. They reach for their phones. They reach for noise. They need constant stimulation, because when the world goes quiet, their demons get loud. But if you can sit in the silence long enough, you'll start to hear the truth. The truth about what's holding you back. The truth about the man you're becoming. The truth about what you need to face if you're ever going to break through. Silence reveals. It doesn't hide. It shines a light on everything you've been running from. That's why it's powerful. That's why it's dangerous. Because when you stop talking and start listening, when you stop reacting and start observing, you gain a level of control that can't be faked. You become the one who doesn't flinch. You become the one who doesn't break. You become the one who moves with intention, not emotion. You have to stop thinking that every situation needs your voice. Every insult doesn't deserve a reply. Every argument doesn't deserve your energy. Every opinion doesn't deserve your reaction. There is power in restraint. There is strength in being able to hold your fire and wait for the right moment. There's real leadership in being the one who doesn't overreact, who doesn't explode, who doesn't chase the noise. You need to understand this: silence is not the absence of power. It is the control of it. Anyone can yell. Anyone can bark orders. Anyone can lose control and explode. But it takes strength to hold your ground and say nothing. To walk away when ego wants to fight. To keep building when pride wants revenge. To stay quiet when people doubt you, insult you, try to provoke you. Because that's silence. That's the sound of discipline. That's the sound of a focused mind. That's the sound of a dangerous individual in total control. Don't confuse silence with weakness. Confuse silence with pressure. Because that pressure builds. Quietly, ruthlessly, behind closed doors. In the gym when nobody's watching. At night, while others sleep. In your journal, in your grind. In your thoughts. While others boast about the hustle, you live it. While others talk about discipline, you practice it. While they brag, you build. While they react, you strategize. Eventually, that silence turns into something unshakable. It becomes presence. The room shifts when you walk in. Not because you're loud, but because your energy is real. You don't have to raise your voice. People feel you. They know you're not to be played with. Not because you said it, but because you became. That's the kind of strength that comes from silence. That's the kind of aura that's built in solitude. You want to become untouchable? Stop giving the world so much of you. Stop narrating every step. Stop responding to every hater. Stop defending every decision. You don't owe them a word. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them your peace. Silence protects your energy. It preserves your mission. It keeps your fire burning where it matters, inside, not wasted in empty words. Most people talk because they're not doing. They talk because they want to sound like they're moving forward. But the ones who are really working, they don't have time to talk. They're locked in. Obsessed. Focused. They're not arguing online. They're not defending themselves. They're not trying to convince anyone of anything. They're just winning. Quietly. Relentlessly. And when they arrive, it's too late for everyone who doubted. The work is done. The transformation already happened. The world is just now catching up. And here's what's crazy. When you build in silence, people will think you disappeared. Good. Let them think that. Let them count you out. Let them assume you gave up. Because while they're running their mouths, you're running your race. While they're judging your silence, you're sharpening your skills. While they're watching for signs of noise, you're building an empire in the dark. And when the lights come on, they won't even recognize the version of you that shows up. That's what silence does. It creates separation. It creates distance between who you were and who you're becoming. It creates elevation. But only if you stay disciplined. Because silence without work is just quiet laziness. Silence without purpose is just passive weakness. You've got to use the silence. Make it sacred. Make it your edge. Make it the place you train your mind, sharpen your vision, build your system, master your emotions. The world is addicted to noise. But noise is where clarity dies. Noise is where your purpose gets diluted. Noise is where your focus gets pulled apart. That's why they're losing. That's why they're stressed. That's why they're distracted and scattered and weak. But you were built for more. You were built for control, for direction. And to build that, you need silence. Not forever, but long enough to shift into a new gear. Long enough to become the version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't fall back into noise. And when you come out of that silence, you're not the same. You walk different. You speak different. You don't chase validation. You carry presence. You don't scream for respect. You earn it by existing. You don't ask for attention. You attract it by being undeniable. That's what happens when you embrace silence. You stop looking for permission. You stop answering every voice around you. You stop giving power to everything outside of you. You reclaim your strength. You reclaim your focus. You reclaim your fire. And when it's time to speak, you speak with authority, not volume, not emotion, not desperation, but calm, confident, controlled power. So stop being afraid of silence. Lean into it. Let it refine you. Let it burn away the noise. Let it build a version of you that doesn't need to be loud, because the life you've built speaks louder than any word ever could. Let the silence mold you into someone who doesn't need the world to understand, because you understand yourself. And once you get there, once you're no longer driven by ego, by fear, by the need to talk, then you become something unstoppable, something unshakable, because the loudest force in the world is not a scream, it's not a rant, it's not an argument. It's the quiet, focused, consistent rise of someone who no longer needs to prove a thing, because they already are the thing. Silence is not weakness. It's the strength you haven't unlocked yet. Chapter 30. Control the mind or be controlled by it. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. It's either working for you or against you. And the truth is, for most people, their mind is running them into the ground. Every day they wake up already behind, already defeated, already anxious, already drowning in thoughts that don't serve them. They don't even realize the enemy is inside. They're at war with the world, trying to fight everything outside, and they haven't even started fighting the war inside their own head. You have to understand something. If you don't control your mind, it will control you, and when it controls you, it will use every ounce of doubt, every memory of pain, every ounce of fear and insecurity you've buried deep to run your life. It doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about your dreams. It will destroy you with the very stories you've told yourself since you were a child, the lies you believed, the rejection you never healed from, the fear you've carried around like a weight for years. The mind will keep pulling you back to that old version of yourself until you take charge. You've got to reprogram it. You've got to discipline your thoughts like you discipline your body. You don't just go to the gym when you feel like it. You go because it's necessary. You don't just work when it's convenient. You work because it's part of who you are. The same goes for the mind. You can't wait until your mind feels right to start thinking right. You have to lead it. You have to train it. You have to dominate it. Because left on its own, your mind will wander back into weakness. It will spiral into what-ifs and worst-case scenarios and excuses. Your mind is a machine, but if you don't program it on purpose, it'll default to survival mode. That means fear. That means doubt. That means avoiding anything uncomfortable. But greatness doesn't live in comfort. Power doesn't live in ease. You have to break out of survival and into control, into creation. You have to shift from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming the master of them. Because until you do, you'll keep reacting instead of creating. You'll keep falling instead of rising. You'll keep blaming instead of building. Start paying attention to what you think when nobody's watching. What's the first voice you hear in the morning? Is it, "I'm tired, I don't feel like it. I can't do this. I'll start tomorrow. Or is it, we've got work. Pain is fuel. I don't need easy. I need purpose. That voice doesn't show up by accident. You have to build it. You have to kill the voice of the old you every single morning and replace it with a voice that's discipline, vision, and purpose. Most people live their whole lives ruled by that old voice. That voice that tells them they're not good enough, that they'll never be more than what they've seen, that they can't rise above their past. And they believe it. They take orders from it. They follow it like it's the truth. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides what thoughts live and what thoughts die. You don't have to obey every thought that pops into your head. You don't have to let your mind keep pulling you down into the same patterns, the same fear, the same self-sabotage. You can take control. But it starts with confrontation. You have to confront every lie you've told yourself, every mental excuse you've leaned on, every pattern that keeps you stuck. You have to look your mind in the eye and say, "No more. You don't run me. I run you." And then you back that up with action, with consistency, with rituals, with routines that rebuild the way you think every single day. Your morning matters. Your environment matters. What you feed your mind matters. You think you can scroll for hours, watch garbage, listen to drama, surround yourself with chaos, and still have a disciplined mind. Impossible. Your mind becomes what you feed it. If you feed it fear, it becomes fear. If you feed it doubt, it becomes doubt. But if you feed it strength, it becomes unshakable. If you feed it purpose, it becomes unstoppable. You've got to start managing your mind like it's sacred territory. Because it is. You've got to protect your focus like it's your life. Because it is. Your future lives and dies in your mind first. Before you succeed, you have to believe. Before you rise, you have to see. Before you conquer anything external, you have to conquer every internal voice telling you you can't. That's what separates the great from the average. Not talent, not luck. Mental dominance. The ability to think clearly in chaos. The ability to focus in a storm. The ability to stay locked in when everything inside is screaming to quit. You think it's genetics. You think it's some magic. It's discipline. It's years of choosing to think higher, choosing to respond better, choosing to speak life to yourself even when life feels dark, choosing to break old patterns every single time they show up. There is no growth without mental control. You can build a body, build a brand, build a business, but if your mind is weak, all of it will collapse under pressure. Because pressure reveals your mental wiring. And if you haven't done the inner work, you will break. You will panic. You will self-destruct. That's why mental training isn't optional. It's not nice to have. It's survival. It's survival. It's what separates winners from wishers. Start practicing right now. When the voice of doubt shows up, challenge it. When fear creeps in, face it. When anxiety kicks in, breathe through it. Get curious. Where did that thought come from? Who taught you to think like that? Is it helping or hurting you? Does it deserve to stay, or does it need to die right here? You are not your past. You are not your trauma. You are not your bad habits. You are not your lazy moments. You are not the voice that tells you to give up. You are the awareness that can rewrite all of it. That can replace every broken pattern with a powerful one. That can replace fear with focus, insecurity with confidence, with faith. Not blind faith, earned faith. The kind that's built through reps, through grind, through failing and getting back up with a stronger mindset than you had before. Mental control is not a one-time achievement. It's a daily battle, and you've got to be ready to fight it every morning. You've got to armor up with discipline, with intention, with unshakable purpose, because if you don't fight for your mind, the world will fill it with junk, with comparison, with distraction, with weakness. You don't rise by accident. You rise by deciding that your mind will not be your enemy. It will be your greatest ally, and when you do that, everything changes. Your focus sharpens, your discipline hardens, your vision clears. You don't just survive life, you shape it. You don't just react to life, you dominate it. You become dangerous. Not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because your mind is a weapon no one can touch. You walk into any room calm, composed, controlled. While others panic, you execute. While others fear, you move forward. While others complain, you build. And when people ask what change, you won't need to explain. Because the results will speak. The way you carry yourself will speak. The way you never break under pressure will speak. That's what mental control does. It turns you into someone who doesn't just win sometimes. You win consistently. Not because it's easy, but because you're in control. So ask yourself right now, who's in charge? Is your mind running you, or are you running it? Are you choosing thoughts that elevate you, or are you repeating the same garbage that keeps you small? Are you building a mindset that protects your mission, or are you letting everything outside poison your potential? You've got a choice to make. Every day, every hour, every moment you feel weak, every moment you want to quit, every moment your mind starts slipping back into the old you. That's your signal. That's your cue. That's your chance to say, not today. Not this version, not this voice. Today, I take control, because the man who controls his mind controls everything. Chapter 40, Your mood is a weapon. Sharpen it. Your mood is not just a feeling, it's a weapon. One that can be sharpened into precision, or left dull and dangerous. One that can protect you or destroy you. One that can push you forward or pull you straight into a pit. The difference, control. Most people don't control their mood. They obey it. They let how they feel dictate what they do. They let the emotions of a moment rewrite the purpose of a lifetime. They let a bad morning infect the whole day. A rude comment ruin their focus. A flash of anger sabotage their progress. That's not power. That's slavery. If your mood can change the direction of your discipline, you're not in charm. And if you're not in charge of yourself, then someone else always is. Every time you let your mood control you, you hand over the keys to your peace, your performance, your growth. And that enemy, that trigger, that obstacle, it wins. Not because it's stronger than you, but because it pulled you into reaction and you weren't. You need to sharpen your mood into something you use, not something you serve. That means learning to feel everything without becoming everything. Feel anger, but don't become it. Feel sadness, but don't drown in it. Feel frustration, but don't explode from it. Real strength isn't numbness, it's mastery. It's being able to sit in your emotion, breathe through it, examine it, and respond with purpose, not impulse. But that level of control doesn't come by accident. It comes from training. It comes from daily self-awareness. It comes from catching yourself in the moment and saying, this feeling doesn't run me. I run me. You're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to feel inspired. Some days, you're going to wake up with weight on your chest, a storm in your head, and no fuel in your spirit. But that's the test. That's the place where warriors are born. It's easy to stay focused when you're in a good mood. It's easy to train when you're hyped up. It's easy to grind when the energy is there. But can you still execute when your emotions are screaming for escape? Can you still show up when your mood is pulling you under? Can you still hold the line when your feelings are trying to drag you away from your mission? Let's separates average from elite. It's emotional discipline. And it matters more than talent, more than intelligence, more than potential. Because your emotions are like weather, always shifting. But your vision, that has to stay solid. That has to stay stable. That has to be unshakable. And if you can't control your mood, you'll never stay aligned with your vision. You'll be driven by the emotional chaos of the moment, constantly pulled off course by things that don't even matter tomorrow. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. It means owning it, studying it, using it. Anger, that can be fuel if you know how to channel it. Sadness, that can bring clarity if you listen to it. Fear, that can sharpen your edge if you walk through it instead of running from it. But if you avoid your emotions or let them command you, you'll live your life like a puppet, jerked around by every trigger, every tone, every inconvenience, every disappointment. You've got to take your power back. You've got to sit down with yourself and stop making excuses for emotional immaturity. You're not a kid anymore. You don't get to throw tantrums every time life doesn't go your way. You don't get to snap on people just because you're stressed. You don't get to shut down just because something hurts. That version of you, that version has to die. It's time to build someone who can handle the heat, someone who can walk through emotional fire and come out sharper, not burned. When your mood is sharpened, it becomes a weapon that works for you. You can step into stressful environments and stay calm. You can walk into pressure and stay clear. You can hear criticism and not crumble. You can lose without breaking and win without losing your head. You become a force, because no matter how chaotic the world is, you don't get pulled into it. You remain centered. You remain grounded. You remain in control. Look around. Most people are emotional time bombs. One delay, one insult, one inconvenience away from blowing up, and that's why they're inconsistent. That's why they can't be trusted. That's why they can't build anything sustainable. Because their emotions own them. They can't focus. They can't lead. They can't stay locked in. And that's the gap between the person you are and the person you were meant to become. You don't close that gap with talk. You close it by becoming emotionally unshakable. Every time you hold your response when everything in you wants to react, you grow. Every time you choose calm in the middle of chaos, you sharpen your weapon. Every time you train through sadness, work through anger, stay composed in stress, you level up. That's the internal game. That's the stuff nobody sees. That's what separates the one who needs emotional permission to move from the one who moves because they've already decided, no matter how they feel. And the beautiful thing, mood follows movement. Most people wait to feel better before they act, but real discipline is acting even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because once you start moving, your mood shifts. Your biology follows your decision. You show your emotions that you're in charge now. You don't wait for motivation. You manufacture it with movement, with focus, with repetition. Your emotions don't define your truth. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's reality. Feelings are real, but they're not always true. Your mood might tell you, you're not good enough. Your discipline answers, I don't care. I'm showing up anyway. Your mood might whisper, this is too hard. Your purpose says, let's go deeper. Your emotion might cry, you can't take any more. Your soul says, I've got more in me. I'm just getting started. You can't afford to build your life around your mood. Your mood will lie. Your mood will fluctuate. But your mission has to stay solid, unmoved. That's how you dominate long term. Not by being perfect, not by always feeling strong, but by refusing to let weakness run the show. Sharpen your mood like a blade. That means catching yourself early when the shift happens. When your mood starts dipping, don't ignore it. Intercept it. Get present. Check the story you're telling yourself. Reset it. Replace it with a new focus. You don't need to feel amazing. You just need to stay in motion. You don't need a perfect vibe. You need a relentless mindset. Build the version of you who shows up no matter what, who leads themselves even when they're tired, sad, angry, disappointed, who knows how to sit with a heavy heart and still choose progress. That's the person who doesn't just survive life. They shape it. That's the person who wins, quietly, consistently, powerfully. So what are you going to do the next time your mood tries to pull you off track? Are you going to shrink? Are you going to snap? Are you going to spiral into excuses and disappear into emotional chaos like everybody else? Or are you going to rise? Are you going to reset, refocus, and keep going? Because that moment, that choice, that's where the new you is born. Your mood can either be your downfall or your discipline, your enemy or your weapon. If you don't sharpen it, it will slice through everything you're trying to build. But if you take control, if you train it, if you turn it into an asset, you become unstoppable. Because the world doesn't belong to the loudest. It doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to the one who stays in control when everything else is falling apart. Control your mood, master yourself, win forever. Chapter 50. Discipline over drama. discipline over drama. That's the line in the sand. That's the divide between the ones who talk about it and the ones who become it. You want to build something real, something lasting, something powerful. Then you have to make a decision. Every day, every moment, every time life throws noise in your face. You have to decide, do I react like everyone else, or do I rise with discipline? Drama is easy, it's emotional, it's seductive. It pulls at your pride, it drags you into pointless battles that don't serve your future. Drama gives your ego a high and your mission a death sentence. You want to stay average? Keep chasing drama, keep feeding conflict. Keep wasting time on people and problems that have nothing to do with your goals. But if you want to rise, if you want to lead, if you want to live at a level most people will never touch, then drama has to die. It can't live in the same house as greatness. Discipline is the opposite of drama. It's calm, it's focused, it's controlled. Discipline doesn't chase applause, it doesn't seek revenge, it doesn't crave attention. Discipline just works, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, while drama cries out, look at me. Discipline whispers, watch me, while drama wants to win the moment. Discipline is building to win the decade, one brick at a time, one decision at a time. No distractions, just execution. Most people live addicted to chaos. They need something to be wrong. They need someone to be mad at. They need a reason to react. Why? Because they've never built the inner stillness required to stay grounded in peace. Because they haven't developed the strength to live boring, consistent, powerful days. Because drama gives them an excuse not to face themselves. It's easier to blame, argue, gossip, or vent than to sit with the truth. You're not where you want to be because you haven't stayed disciplined long enough to get there. You've got to rise above that. You've got to look around and realize that most people are fighting battles that don't matter. Arguing with people who aren't going anywhere, getting triggered by things that don't move the needle. You don't have time for that. Your energy is currency. Stop spending it on emotional junk. You've got a purpose to protect. You've got work to do. You've got goals that require you to be laser-focused, not emotionally hijacked. Discipline is freedom. It gives you the space to choose your response, not be enslaved by reaction. It lets you walk away from petty things because your mind is set on something greater. It lets you train even when you're tired, stay consistent even when you're overlooked, and move with peace even when people misunderstand you. Discipline doesn't flinch. It doesn't need drama to feel alive, because the mission is enough. The growth is enough. The grind is enough. Ask yourself, what are you feeding more, your discipline or your drama? When pressure shows up, do you double down or fall apart? When someone disrespects you, do you react emotionally or stay locked in on the bigger picture? When life throws chaos at you, do you fight everything around you, or do you dig deeper into your routine, your mindset, your purpose? You have to start holding yourself accountable for the energy you bring to your life. Discipline isn't just about habits. It's not just about waking up early or working hard. It's about mastering your internal environment. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need external chaos to feel significant. Someone who creates impact, not arguments. Results, not reaction. Discipline is the ultimate self-respect. It's saying, I don't need to prove myself to people who don't matter. I prove myself to the mission. That means you walk away from conversations that go nowhere. That means you say no to distractions, even when they feel good. That means you keep your mouth shut when you want to clap back. That means you sacrifice temporary validation for long-term vision. Because drama feels good in the moment, but discipline feels right forever. You want peace, choose discipline. You want growth, choose discipline. You want power that can't be shaken, choose discipline. It's not exciting, it's not flashy, it won't get applause at first, but it wins every time quietly, unshakably. Over time, the disciplined person always outruns the dramatic one. Always. People will test you. Life will test you. There will be people who try to drag you into their storm. There will be situations designed to trigger your lower self. But that's the moment you rise. That's the moment you show the world, and yourself what you're really made of, not by reacting, not by breaking down, but by staying steady, by staying dangerous without saying a word, by doing what needs to be done while everyone else is busy doing nothing that matters. You've got to become boring in the best way. Boring to the world that loves noise. Boring to people addicted to conflict. Boring to those who think yelling louder means they're winning. Because you know something they don't. Real power is in consistency. Real strength is in restraint. Real growth is in choosing the high road even when the low road is calling your name. You've got to stop chasing emotions and start chasing excellence. You've got to stop wasting time explaining yourself and start showing the results. You've got to stop letting petty energy rent space in your mind. Your mind is a temple, your life is a mission. Guard it with discipline. Not just once. Every day, every moment you feel tempted to feed the fire of drama, remind yourself it's not worth it. Your peace is worth more. Your future is worth more. Your energy is worth more. And when you choose discipline over and over again, you become different. You become focused. You become precise. You don't need to argue. You just execute. You don't need to scream. You just show up. You don't need to announce your greatness. You just become it. That's the silent power discipline builds. And eventually, the world starts to notice, not because you told them who you are, but because you showed them. Without drama, without noise, just action. Make that your standard. Let the world be noisy. Let others spiral into their own chaos. You stay clean, you stay grounded, not because you're weak, but because you're too strong to be pulled into things beneath your purpose. You've got dreams to chase. You've got a legacy to build. You've got a mind to master and a life to own. No time for games. No time for drama. You weren't built for drama. You were built for discipline. You were built for impact. You were built to be a warrior in a world of reactors, so act like it. Move like it. Live like it. Let your routine speak louder than their words. Let your growth silence their noise. Let your work shut down their gossip. Discipline is the new savage. It's the new rebellion. It's the new way to dominate. Quietly, completely, unapologetically. So if you're tired of being pulled into drama, if you're sick of the chaos, the wasted energy, the emotional roller coaster, choose the other path, the quiet path, the strong path, the path where you don't have to react to everything because you're too busy something bigger than everything. Discipline over drama, every time. Chapter 60. Speak only what builds, not what breaks. Your words are bricks. Every sentence you speak is building something or breaking something. And if you're not conscious of it, if you're not intentional with what comes out of your mouth, you might wake up one day standing in the rubble of a life you destroyed with your own voice. Words don't vanish, they echo. They stick, they shape. Every time you speak, you're either building the version of you that's strong, clear, and focused, or you're reinforcing weakness, feeding doubt, planting poison in your future. Most people don't realize the power of their voice. They treat words like dust, light, meaningless. They say things without thought. They vent, complain, gossip, lash out, and then wonder why their life feels out of alignment, why their mind feels messy, why their relationships feel shallow. It's because the words they keep speaking are breaking what they claim they're trying to build. Your mouth is not a toy. It's a tool, and a tool in the hands of someone undisciplined is a weapon turned inward. You have to start treating your voice like it matters. Because it does, not just when you're in front of people, not just when you're on a stage or making an impression. It matters when you're alone, when you talk to yourself, when you're angry, when you're tired, when you're doubting, when you're afraid. That's when your words carry the most power, because that's when you decide what type of person you're reinforcing with your speech. Speak only what builds. That means you catch yourself mid-sentence when you're about to say something out of emotion, not wisdom. That means you stop using words that keep you small. I'm not good enough. I always mess up. This is just who I am. No, stop that. That's not harmless self-talk. That's self-sabotage. Every word is either lifting you into your next level or chaining you to your past. You better choose wisely. Your brain listens when you speak. It records everything. When you repeat defeat, it believes you. When you reinforce fear, it adjusts your behavior to match that fear. When you speak like a victim, it shuts down your power to move like a leader. You want to change your life? Start with your language. Speak the life you want before it exists. Talk to yourself like someone you're responsible for creating, not destroying. You don't have the luxury of being careless with your words anymore. Not if you're serious. Not if you're truly committed to building a new version of you. You can't keep tearing yourself down in private and expecting to win in public. You can't keep feeding weakness with your mouth and expect strength to show up in your habits. That's not how it works. You've got to align your speech with your mission. Stop saying, "I can't." Stop saying, "I'm broke." Stop saying, "I always fail." Stop saying, "I'm so unlucky." Every time those words leave your mouth, you're reinforcing chains. You're building walls between you and the person you were born to become. Speak with precision. Speak with intent. Speak like a warrior, controlled, calculated, powerful. And it's not just what you say about yourself. It's what you say about others. It's what you say about life. It's how you speak to your future. Stop putting poison into the air and expecting peace to grow around you. You can't gossip, complain, curse your circumstances, and expect success to want to live in the same house. It won't. Your energy either attracts elevation or it attracts erosion, and your mouth is the thermostat. Every day, you wake up with a chance to either feed your fire or throw water on it. And that starts with what you speak. Say what builds. Even if it's small. Even if it's private. Say, "I'm getting stronger." Say, "I'm building something real." Say, "I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not who I used to be." Say, "Today, I move forward. Today, I make it count." That's how you program a mind that's ready for battle. That's how you forge the focus you need to keep going when nothing outside is motivating you. You won't always feel powerful. That's why you speak power. You won't always feel confident. That's why you speak belief. You won't always feel like grinding. That's why you speak discipline. Your words are a weapon against weakness. Or they're a window for weakness to come in. You decide which one it is every time you open your mouth. And don't confuse venting with healing. A lot of people say they're just being real when they dump negativity out into the world, but all they're doing is reinforcing the cycle. There's a difference between honesty and self-destruction. Being honest doesn't mean tearing yourself down. It means acknowledging where you are without letting it become your identity. "I feel lost right now" is honest. "I'll never figure it out" is destruction. Be sharp enough to know the difference. The strongest people you'll ever meet are silent builders. They don't speak recklessly. They don't waste words. They treat their mouth like a sacred tool. Because they understand something most never learn. Your tongue can either create a future or curse one. Speak what builds. When someone disrespects you, speak with control. Don't let their chaos drag you into an argument that costs your focus. When life hits you, speak with faith. Not fantasy, faith. The kind of grounded, focused belief that says, "This moment won't break me. I'm built for it." When you're tired, speak with commitment. "I said I'd do this, so I will. My word is law." That's the standard you need. Your words become contracts with your future, with your discipline, with your identity. You speak it, you walk it. You say it, you live it. That's how you build integrity, not by being perfect, but by being aligned. Aligned in thought, word, and deed. You think growth, you speak growth, you move in growth. Look at your vocabulary. Look at how you speak under pressure. Look at how you speak when no one's watching. Are you building a warrior or babysitting your weaknesses? Are you reinforcing discipline or feeding drama? Are your words tools for change or excuses for staying stuck? Your life is following your language. If you don't like what you're seeing, maybe you need to change what you're saying. You don't need to be fake. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be intentional. Speak with purpose. Speak with awareness. Speak like everything you say has consequences, because it does. There's no such thing as harmless self-doubt. No such thing as meaningless negativity. Every sentence is a seed, and you're going to eat the fruit of whatever you plant. And here's the thing, when you start to speak what builds, people will notice. Some will be inspired, some will be uncomfortable, some will mock you because they're addicted to their own destructive dialogue. Let them. Your job isn't to match their energy, it's to elevate your own. Your voice is sacred, protect it. Don't let their small talk shrink your purpose. Don't let their negative energy rewrite your language. Stay locked in, speak what builds, even when it's not popular, especially when it's not popular. Because the world is loud with destruction, loud with weakness, loud with noise. But your voice isn't built for that. It's built to lead, to sharpen, to shift atmospheres, to breathe life into dead environments, to call the best out of yourself and others. But you have to choose it, every day. Speak only what builds. That's your edge. That's your code. That's the difference between a person drifting through life and a person who's shaping it with every word they breathe. Choose your words. Sharpen your tongue. Speak like your future depends on it, because it does. Chapter 70. Master the pause before you react. The gap between stimulus and response is where your entire future is forged. That pause, the space between what happens to you and how you react, is the battlefield where either your weakness or your strength takes control. Most people never even see it. They live in reaction. Something happens, they lash out. Someone says something, they snap back. A situation triggers them, and they fall into old patterns like clockwork. There's no gap, no pause, no power. And when there's no pause, there's no control. You want to build a life that's unshakable. Learn to master the pause. That space is everything. That pause is where clarity lives. That pause is where discipline speaks. That pause is where you interrupt the cycle, stop the damage, and choose a response that aligns with your future instead of your frustration. Without the pause, you're a slave to the moment. With the pause, you become the master of it, and that pause isn't easy. That pause isn't natural. That pause requires a level of awareness most people never train. You have to develop it like a skill, like a muscle. You have to practice being uncomfortable and not reacting. You have to get comfortable sitting in tension, letting emotion pass through you without letting it dictate what you do. That's power, real power, not emotional outbursts, not snapping back louder than the person yelling at you, not shutting down or disappearing. Real power is calm. Real power is deliberate. Real power is when you feel the fire rise inside and still choose your response with precision. It's in the pause that you stop yourself from ruining your own peace. It's in the pause that you save relationships, protect your energy, and keep your mission on course, because every emotional decision you make without that pause has a cost. And sometimes you won't know the price until it's too late. One word, one reaction, one impulsive move, and the momentum you've been building for months can collapse. You think you don't need the pause. You think reacting fast is strength. That's not strength. That's programming. That's autopilot. That's weakness wrapped in noise. Real strength is being able to feel something deeply and still respond wisely. To sit with your anger and not act out of it. To acknowledge your fear and still move with focus. To hear something disrespectful and not mirror that same energy back. Because what you mirror, you become. And if you keep reflecting the same chaos that triggered you, you're no different from the thing that pulled you. The pause gives you power because it gives you options. It creates space for intention to step in. It allows your highest self, the version of you that's committed to discipline, growth, and purpose, to take the wheel instead of your ego, your wounds, or your pride. That's the kind of person who becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they stop handing over control every time something gets hard. You have to train the pause. And you train it in the moments that don't feel dramatic. You train it when the little things irritate you. When your schedule changes last minute. When someone cuts you off. When you're overlooked. When you're misunderstood. When your plans fall apart. Those moments are your reps. That's where you build the strength to not react like the old you would. Because if you can't control yourself in small moments, you'll never be in control when the big storms hit. If you can't pause when someone disrespects it, how will you pause when life betrays you? If you can't pause when things get delayed, how will you stay composed when everything seems like it's falling apart? The pause isn't weakness. The pause is warfare. The pause is where you remind yourself who you are and what you're fighting for. The pause is where you make the decision, do I serve my higher vision, or do I serve my lower emotion? Do I react from pain, or do I respond from purpose? You think snapping back feels good? You think yelling, ghosting, exploding, sulking, whatever your default reaction is, makes you feel in control. No, it satisfies your ego for a second and steals your discipline for a week. And deep down, you know it. You know that most of your regrets didn't come from things you planned. They came from things you did in a moment of weakness, without thinking, without breathing, without pausing. You've got to slow it down. And I'm not saying be soft. I'm not saying be passive. I'm saying be precise. Reacting is wild. Responding is surgical. The pause doesn't mean silence forever. It means measured action. You still speak, you still move. But you do it with intention, not impulse. With clarity, not chaos. With strategy. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not respond at all. Sometimes silence is the most disciplined reaction you can give. Not because you're avoiding, but because you're above it. Because you've already done the inner work, and you know not every situation deserves your energy. Not every attack deserves a reply. Not every trigger deserves a scene. Your peace is expensive. Stop handing it out like it's cheap. You think the greats aren't tested. You think warriors don't get disrespected, lied to, challenged. They do. But they've trained the pause. That's why they don't flinch. That's why they move with power, because the world around them doesn't control the world within them. That's what you need to build. Inner stillness. Inner command. Inner sharpness that doesn't crack when the pressure hits. And if you want to master the pause, you've got to slow your life down. Start with your breathing. When tension rises, deep, intentional, slow the system down, anchor yourself, get back to clarity. That breath is the entry point to your power. That breath is what breaks the reaction. That breath is what says, I'm here, I'm present, I choose what happens next. Don't wait for chaos to start training. Build the pause into your habits. Reflect daily, sit in silence, meditate, journal, practice stillness. Because in a world that's moving at light speed, discipline is built in the stillness. Power is built in the silence. And those who train in quiet dominate in chaos. And if you've messed this up before, good, that means you're human. But now you know, now you've seen the damage that comes from living in reaction. The relationships you broke, the opportunities you lost, the peace you destroyed, that version of you. The one who couldn't pause, who couldn't stop, who was triggered by everything and controlled by nothing. That version doesn't get to run the show anymore. From now on you pause. From now on you lead. From now on, your emotions don't make the decisions. You do. Because you're building something bigger than a moment. You're shaping a life, and that life will only be as strong as your ability to pause when it matters. So the next time the tension rises, pause. The next time your pride wants to jump in, pause. The next time fear screams at you, pause. Breathe. Think, choose. Because every time you choose not to react, you're breaking the chains of your past. You're stepping into the highest version of yourself. You're proving that the old you is dead and the disciplined you is alive. Master the pause. That's where the real growth begins. Chapter 80. Your energy is expensive. Stop giving discounts. Your energy is your most valuable currency. More than your time, more than your talent, more than your money. Because without energy you can't execute. Without energy you can't think straight, show up fully, or move with force. It's the fuel that drives every habit, every goal, every conversation, every piece of progress you make. And yet, too many people give it away, like too many people hand out pieces of themselves to things and people that don't deserve them, and then wonder why they feel depleted, unfocused, frustrated, or stuck. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're giving too much to things that aren't giving back. You've got to stop giving discounts on your energy. You've got to stop handing out access to your mind, your attention, your focus, your peace, for free. People who don't respect it. Situations that don't require it. Conversations that go nowhere. You've got to recognize the cost of being careless with your presence. Because every time you give energy to something pointless, you steal it from something that matters. You want to build something powerful. You want to live disciplined, grow strong, stay focused. Then you need to protect your energy like a savage. No apologies, no guilt, no explanation. Everyone doesn't deserve your ear. Everyone doesn't deserve your time. Everyone doesn't get access to your mindset. You have to audit where your energy is leaking, because if you don't, the noise will eat your potential alive. Ask yourself, what's draining you right now? Is it the people you're around, the habits you keep, the conversations you keep revisiting with no resolution, the scrolling, the overthinking, the constant need to prove yourself to people who aren't even building anything themselves? You've got to be honest. You've got to cut the lies, because this life you say you want, it costs energy. And if your energy is bankrupt, you're not going to have the drive, the fire, or the endurance to get there. Discipline means being selfish with your energy in the right way. It doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you care too much about your calling to get pulled into nonsense. It means you stop entertaining every emotional impulse that shows up. It means you stop attending every argument you're invited to. It means you stop explaining your purpose to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are not obligated to stay available to every distraction. You are not required to respond to every message. You are not responsible for fixing everyone's chaos. You have a life to build, a mind to master, a vision to execute. If something drains you, robs you, weakens you, cut it. Cut it without guilt. Cut it without explanation. Because you cannot afford to pour from an empty soul. You cannot afford to be everything to everyone while being nothing to yourself. This isn't about being cold. This is about being clear. This is about knowing what you're building and protecting your energy like it's sacred. Because it is. You think you can keep giving out your time to drama and still have focus left for your goals. You think you can let everyone dump their emotional garbage on you and still show up sharp the next day. You can't. You're human, and energy doesn't regenerate in chaos. It dies there. You've got to learn to say no. No to fake friendships. No to unearned opinions. No to pointless scrolling. No to guilt trips. No to mental clutter. Every yes to something weak is a no to something strong. You don't get both. You either protect your energy or you surrender it. There's no neutral ground. And start with your environment. You can't rise in spaces that only tolerate your growth instead of celebrate it. You can't thrive around people who normalize weakness and call it peace. You've got to be around energy that reminds you who you are, not people who keep pulling you back to who you used to be. Because energy is contagious. If you're not careful, you'll absorb the doubt, the laziness, the distraction of the people closest to you. And slowly, you'll forget the fire that used to live inside of you. Protect your energy from yourself too. From your own bad habits. From your own self-doubt. From the way you speak to yourself when no one's around. You're not just giving energy away to people. You're leaking it through your own self-sabotage. The thoughts you entertain. The comfort zones you live in. The excuses you nurture. All of them are draining you. All of them are killing the version of you that's trying to rise. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of energy. Think of it like a bank account. You only get so many withdrawals before you're in the red. And if you spend all your mental, emotional, and spiritual currency on things that don't feed you, you will stay broke. You will stay stuck. You will stay defeated. And it won't be because you weren't capable. It will be because you were careless. You've got to track your energy like a savage. Who gets your mornings? Who gets your mental space? What gets your first hour of the day? What gets your creative focus? If the answer isn't something that's building you, you're being robbed every day. And the worst part, you're handing over the keys willingly. Start treating your energy like it's gold. Start filtering every decision through one question. Does this feed me or drain me? If it feeds you, lean in. If it drains you, cut it off. Ruthlessly, consistently, unapologetically. That's how you grow. That's how you sharpen your edge. That's how you make room for real power to move in your life. You think you need more time. You don't. You think you need more motivation. You don't. You need to take your energy back from everything and everyone that doesn't align with your discipline. You need to build an inner world so locked in, so grounded, so intentional that nothing external can shake it. And once you stop giving discounts, once you stop allowing people to access your peace without earning it, once you stop apologizing for valuing your focus, you'll feel it. You'll feel yourself returning. Your clarity will come back. Your fire will reignite. Your decisions will get sharper. Your mind will feel lighter. And you'll move different, not because life got easier, but because you stopped bleeding energy into places it never belonged. You weren't born to be drained. You weren't built to be walked on, pulled in, distracted, or stretched thin by things that don't even match your values. You are the gatekeeper of your own energy. And if you don't guard it, no one will do it for you. This is your permission to be unavailable. This is your permission to walk away. This is your permission to protect your peace. This is your permission to take your power back and give yourself what you've been giving everyone else. Your presence, your care, your fire. No more discounts, no more deals, no more pretending you're okay being drained. You deserve to be full. You deserve to be sharp. You deserve to be energized for the things that actually matter. And the moment you make that decision, the moment you commit to protecting your energy like your life depends on it, everything begins to change, because it's not just about your energy. It's about your future, your goals, your growth, your mindset, your impact. And every piece of that depends on what you're giving your energy to today. So take it back, own it, guard it, and watch how everything around you starts to rise. Chapter 9. Cut fast. Cut deep. Cut forever. There comes a point in your journey where you have to stop managing dysfunction and start eliminating it. Not negotiating, not hoping it gets better, not pretending it doesn't drain you. Just cutting it. Fast. You're not going to build a life of power and purpose by dragging dead weight. You're not going to elevate into discipline while holding hands with the habits that keep breaking you. And you're sure as hell not going to become the next version of yourself by entertaining the same distractions that keep you chained to the past. Cut fast. That means you don't wait. That means you don't overthink. That means you don't wait for the perfect time, the perfect moment, the perfect excuse. You see the weakness, you see the poison, you see what doesn't belong, and you act. You act because hesitation is how you end up stuck in cycles for years. Because the longer you wait to cut something that's killing you, the more it rots every part of your life. You don't need more time to decide what's already obvious. If it's costing your peace, draining your focus, killing your momentum, it has to go. Period. Cut deep. That means you don't just trim the edges. You don't just take a surface swipe at the problem. You go all the way down to the root. You remove the mindset, the environment, the attachment, the story behind the habit. You don't just delete the app. You address the addiction. You don't just ignore the person. You confront your weakness in keeping them around. You don't just cancel the plan. You rebuild the pattern. Because shallow cuts always grow back. Real transformation happens when you go beneath the surface and pull the thing out by its roots. Ugly, painful, raw, but necessary. Cut forever. That means you stop circling back. That means you stop reopening doors you already closed. That means you stop calling it healing, when it's really just procrastination in disguise. If you had to cut it, there was a reason. Don't forget the weight it carried. Don't forget how long it slowed you down. Don't forget the cost it charged your discipline, your energy, your self-respect. There's nothing back there for you. Move forward and stay forward. And I know it's not easy. Cutting hurts. Walking away hurts. Changing patterns hurts. Letting go of people you once loved, versions of yourself you once found comfort in, habits that gave you temporary relief. It all hurts, but you have to choose your pain, the pain of cutting it or the pain of continuing to carry it. Because one leads to freedom. The other leads to a slow death of everything you're trying to build. There's no such thing as a painless elevation. You're not going to level up without sacrifice. And what needs to go will scream. It will beg to stay. It will wrap itself in memories, nostalgia, excuses, comfort. But none of that makes it right. None of that makes it part of your future. And if it doesn't serve where you're going, it doesn't deserve space in your life. Stop lying to yourself about things that are obviously in the way. Stop making excuses for what you know is draining you. Stop spiritualizing dysfunction. Stop romanticizing patterns that are killing your growth. The old you, those old choices, that old thinking, those old attachments, cannot ride with you into the next chapter. You either kill them now, or they will kill your progress later. Cut fast. That means the moment you recognize the poison, you move. Stop saying, one more time. Stop saying, maybe next week. Stop saying, after the holidays. You don't schedule your breakthrough around comfort. You commit. Right here, right now. Make the cut. Unfollow. Block. Delete. Say what needs to be said. Do what needs to be done, and don't look back. Cut deep. That means you don't just stop the behavior. You destroy the belief that kept it alive. You don't just leave the relationship. You address the insecurity that kept you in it. You don't just quit the job. You get clear on why you stayed so long in something that didn't align with your calling. That's deep work. That's where the real shift happens. That's how you stop repeating cycles and start rewriting your reality. Cut forever. That means no more open doors. No more half commitments. No more, I'll just check in on them. No more, I'll just do it once. That door stays closed, because you're not healing if you're revisiting the thing that broke you. You're not evolving if you keep flirting with the thing that tried to destroy you. Keep your distance, keep your standards, keep your eyes on what's next. This world is full of distractions, full of noise, full of people, apps, thoughts, and behaviors designed to pull you away from your edge. And every single one of them has one goal: to get you to forget who you are, to get you to stay small, to get you to numb your power with comfort, approval, and habits that keep you pacified. But if you're serious, if you're truly committed to growth, you don't play with those things. You cut them. You don't analyze poison. You don't negotiate with limitation. You don't nurse what you're supposed to bury. Cutting doesn't mean you hate what you cut. It means you respect yourself enough to choose peace over chaos. It means you respect your mission enough to protect it. It means you love your future more than you fear the discomfort of letting go. And yes, some people will call you cold. Some will say you changed. Let them. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Because your life isn't built on their approval. It's built on your discipline. And your discipline says if it's not aligned, it's not allowed. Cut fast. That means make a clean break. No more just checking in. No more what ifs. No more but we've been through so much. The history isn't worth the cost of your future. The memory isn't worth your momentum. The comfort isn't worth your calling. Cut deep. That means you stop trying to halfway heal. You stop treating symptoms and start ripping out roots. You stop making surface changes and start transforming from the inside out. That's what builds a new you. That's what sets you apart. Anyone can act disciplined for a week, but the ones who cut deep, they never go back. They burn the old script and write something entirely new. Cut forever. That means your decision isn't temporary. It's not based on mood. It's not based on pressure. It's locked in. You move different now. You speak different now. You think different now. You don't need reminders because you've made a full commitment to becoming someone stronger. And when the temptations come back, and they will, you remind yourself, I already buried that. I already chose power. I already made the cut. Cutting is clarity. It brings your life into focus. It creates room for growth, for peace, for purpose. And the more you cut what doesn't belong, the more you start to feel yourself coming alive again. You start waking up with energy. You start moving with sharpness. You stop second-guessing your path, because you're not being pulled in 1,000 directions anymore. You're locked in, you're grounded, you're focused. So look at your life. Look at what's holding you back. Look at what you're still carrying, what needs to be cut, what's still taking space that no longer fits your future. What old identity, old voice, old relationship, old pattern do you need to finally walk away from? Don't wait. Don't shrink. Don't talk yourself out of it again. Make the cut. Fast, deep, forever, and never look back. Chapter 100. Protect your focus like it's your life. Focus is the most valuable weapon you have in a world designed to steal it. The ability to lock in, truly lock in, on a mission, a path, a discipline, a target, and give it everything you've got without flinching, without breaking, without scattering your energy across 1,000 things that don't matter. That's rare. That's dangerous. That's what separates the ones who talk about doing something from the ones who actually do it. Focus isn't just a skill. It's a survival trait for anyone serious about building greatness. You've got to protect your focus like it's your life, because in many ways, it is. Your future is built by what you give your attention to. Your destiny is shaped by the things you prioritize day after day. You think you're wasting time when you're distracted. No, you're wasting your entire life. You're leaking years into a pit of scrolling, gossip, comfort, and meaningless interaction, all while your dreams gather dust waiting for you to show up with intention. Every time you pick up your phone instead of your discipline, you've made a choice. Every time you answer that text that pulls your mind into someone else's chaos, you've made a choice. Every time you say yes to something that has nothing to do with your purpose just because you're afraid of saying no, you've made a choice. And those choices become patterns, and those patterns become your reality. Not because you weren't capable, not because you weren't meant for more, but because you couldn't stay focused long enough to get there. Focus is a muscle. It gets sharper when you train it, and it gets weaker when you give in to everything that wants a piece of your attention. You have to start treating your mind like sacred ground. Not everyone should be allowed access. Not everything deserves a seat at the table of your awareness. You are not a servant to notifications. You are not a puppet to other people's priorities. You have one shot at this life. And if you don't fight for your focus, the world will eat it alive. Focus isn't about being busy. It's about being intentional. You can be busy all day and still make no progress. Why? Because your energy is fragmented. Because you're chasing 20 things halfway instead of mastering 2 things fully. Because you're answering calls, checking posts, reacting to noise, and trying to keep up with people who don't even know where they're going. That's not focus. That's fatigue disguised as effort, and it will leave you empty, broke, exhausted, distracted, bitter. Regretful. Focus requires sacrifice. It requires isolation. It requires saying no even when it's uncomfortable. It means letting go of what's urgent so you can lock in on what's essential. It means choosing silence over popularity, stillness over chaos, mastery over mediocrity. Most people can't do it because they're addicted to being entertained, being seen, being distracted. But the elite, the rare ones, they treat their focus like a sacred discipline. They don't let just anything in. They decide what gets their attention, and they guard it like their life depends on it, because it does. Look at the top of any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, leaders. They all have one thing in common: obsessive focus, tunnel vision. While the world was dissected, they were locked in. While everyone else was chasing trends, they were refining their process. While others scrolled, they studied. While others posted, they produced. That's the edge. That's how you win. Not with hype, not with noise, but with ruthless focus on what actually matters. So ask yourself, what has your focus right now? Be honest. Is it your goals or your guilt? Your mission or your mess? Your future or your fear? Because you cannot serve both. Focus is a full-body commitment. It demands your presence. It demands your clarity. It demands you wake up every day and choose progress over comfort, results over excuses. Start eliminating what doesn't align. Block the distractions. Shut the door. Turn off the noise. Get off autopilot. Cut the small talk. Stop being available for things that don't match your purpose. You are not missing out when you say no. You are doubling down on what builds you, because every no to distraction is a yes to discipline. And every yes to discipline compounds, it builds, it sharpens, it multiplies. You want progress. Protect your focus. You want power that no one can take from you. Protect your focus. Stop waiting for the world to make it easier. It won't. The world profits from your distraction. The apps, the trends, the toxic conversations, they all make money off your weakness. So you have to rise. You have to train your mind like a warrior. You have to create an environment that doesn't just allow focus. It demands it. That means your phone doesn't sleep next to your pillow. That means you don't start your day scrolling other people's opinions. That means your first hour is sacred, built for you, not for the outside world. That means you create boundaries so strong they offend people who never respected your time to begin with. That's the cost. But the reward: unmatched clarity, forward momentum, deep work, actual results, the kind of results that most people only dream about while they're busy chasing 10 things and finishing none. Focus isn't sexy at first. It's not glamorous. It's repetition. It's turning down invitations. It's being misunderstood. It's choosing to do one thing every single day while everyone else is switching lanes every week. But over time, it builds empires. It builds minds that can't be shaken. It builds identities that can't be manipulated. It builds peace in a world that's constantly screaming for your attention. You've got to treat focus like it's the rarest asset in the world, because it is. And if you don't protect it, you lose it. And when you lose it, you drift. You get pulled in. You start reacting. You start comparing. You start settling. You start becoming the version of yourself that lives by default instead of design. You were not born to scatter your attention. You were not made to be everything to everyone. You were created with intention, for intention, and you will only unlock your potential when you live in alignment with what actually moves the needle forward. So protect your focus. Build your days around it. Structure your life so it serves your mission, not your impulses. Because here's the truth: you will never feel like staying focused. Distraction will always feel easier. Scrolling will always be available. Procrastination will always knock. But your discipline must answer louder. Your future must matter more than the comfort of the moment, and your commitment must be stronger than your cravings. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being aligned. It's about making the decision every day: I protect what feeds me. I protect what grows me. I protect my focus because I am building something bigger than this moment. Every single person who has ever built something powerful has done it by protecting their focus, not occasionally, not when it was convenient, but daily, relentlessly, with fire in their eyes and boundaries in their hands. And now it's your turn. The world will try to distract you. The world will try to seduce you. The world will give you 1,000 reasons to quit. But you only need one reason to stay locked in. The future you're building demands it. So fight for your focus. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Chapter 11, Guard your mood or lose your mind. Your mood is a weapon. If you don't learn how to guard it, it will turn against you and ruin everything you've been trying to build. People lose years of their lives, not because they lacked opportunity or potential, but because they didn't know how to protect their mood. One bad mood, one emotional slip, one reaction, one impulsive decision. That's all it takes to sabotage momentum, destroy relationships, and spiral right back into the hole you've been climbing out of for months. And the worst part, most people blame the world for what they let happen inside themselves. You've got to take ownership of your emotional state. You've got to stop waiting for the world to make you feel good. Stop relying on circumstances to determine whether you're locked in or falling apart. That's what children do. That's what undisciplined people do. If your mood is based on what other people say, what they think, what the weather looks like, what your bank account says, what happened this morning, then you're not in control. You're a slave to your environment. You have to guard your mood like it's your mind. Because it is. Your mood shapes your perspective. Your perspective shapes your decisions. And your decisions shape your reality. You can't afford to walk around in a storm cloud of negativity and expect your life to bloom. You can't wake up already defeated, already frustrated, already overthinking, and expect your day to be productive. You don't wait to feel better. You train yourself to command your emotional state like a general walking into battle. Mood is a reflection of mental habits. That means if you stay in a bad mood, it's not because the world is unfair. It's because you've allowed weak thinking to dominate your mind. That doesn't mean you ignore pain. That doesn't mean you pretend everything is fine. It means you feel what you feel, but you don't let it own you. You acknowledge the weight, then you lift it off. You recognize the storm, but you don't sit in it. You do what warriors do. You move through it, eyes forward, spirit unshaken. Because if you don't guard your mood, people will weaponize it against you. Environments will manipulate it. Weakness will feed on it. And then you'll wake up wondering why your life feels chaotic, when all you had to do was take control of the one thing you always had the power to manage: your internal world. You don't need everyone around you to behave. You don't need the day to go perfectly. You don't need things to be comfortable to stay calm, focused, clear, and ready. All you need is the discipline to control the lens you're looking through. That's the real game: perspective. Do you see the setback, or do you see the lesson? Do you see the pain, or do you see the growth opportunity? Do you see the frustration, or do you see the tests? Your mood can make heaven feel like hell, or make hell feel like just another stepping stone. It's not about what happens. It's about how you show up emotionally in the face of what happens. That's what separates the sharp from the sloppy. That's what separates warriors from wanderers. That's what separates the ones who rise from the ones who always seem to stay stuck in emotional quicksand. And let me be clear, guarding your mood is not about being fake. It's not about being robotic. It's not about pretending to be happy when you're struggling. It's about being in command of yourself. It's about refusing to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. It's about learning to pause, breathe, reset, and choose how you move, not letting your emotions pick for you. When the mood drops, when the pressure rises, when you feel the spiral starting, you've got to interrupt it. You've got to have rituals, patterns, tools, habits that keep you steady. Maybe it's a walk, a reset workout, silence, breath work, reading something that brings you back to clarity, repeating the truths you know instead of drowning in the lies your emotions try to tell you. You don't fight your mood with hope. You fight it with systems. You have to know yourself well enough to recognize when the old version of you is trying to pull you back into the pit. Because here's the thing about bad moods: they lie. They make everything look worse than it is. They magnify problems. They minimize progress. They blind you to your blessings. They make you forget what you're building and why you started. And if you believe them, if you let them drive the car, they'll crash your future every time. That's why you have to be intentional every single morning. You don't just wake up and hope to feel good. You build it. You fuel it. You prime yourself. You fill your mind with strength before the world throws weakness at you. You speak truth over yourself before the doubt shows up. You armor up emotionally like you're going into war, because you are. The people who win, they're not always the smartest, not always the most talented, but they're emotionally disciplined. They know how to reset. They know how to stand in the storm and still think clearly. They know how to take a hit and not crumble. They know how to keep moving even when their mood doesn't match their mission. That's who you need to become. You need to stop letting one bad moment define your day. Stop letting a 5-minute interaction ruin 12 hours of progress. Stop letting yesterday's storm poison today's clarity. Guard your mood. Be witless within, because your mood will either become your anchor or your acceleration. It will either drag you back or push you forward. But you get to decide which one it becomes. And sometimes that means protecting your peace at all costs. That means cutting off conversations that pull you into drama. That means stepping away from people who always bring negativity. That means not watching content that infects your mindset. That means knowing when to shut everything off and center yourself again. Peace is not weak. It's power. It's the ground you stand on when everything around you is shaking, and your job is to protect it with fire, with boundaries, with discipline. So the next time your mood starts to slip, don't go numb, don't run, don't spiral, fight back. Use everything you've got. Shift your posture, move your body, control your breathing. Speak life out loud. Declare who you are and what you're committed to. Remind yourself that moods are messengers, not masters. They show up to alert you, not control you. You are not your mood. You are not your bad day. You are not your lowest thought. You are the awareness behind all of it. You are the leader, the guardian, the force, and you've got to act like it, especially when you least feel like it. Guard your mood like it's your last breath. Because without emotional control, you will burn out, you will lash out, you will self-sabotage, you will forget who you are in the fire. But when you learn to master it, you move different, you speak different, you wake up clear, you execute without waiting for motivation, and you rise when others fall apart. This isn't about being happy all the time. That's not real life. This is about being grounded, steady, unshakable. It's about being able to walk into a dark day and still carry light. It's about being able to face fear and still move forward. That's emotional discipline. That's what turns you into a weapon against weakness. So protect your energy. Protect your mindset. But above all, because your mood is the gatekeeper of your actions, and your actions shape everything, guard it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Discipline over drama. The final decision. This is it, the final decision. The moment where you stop going in circles, stop debating with your own weakness, stop living halfway in and halfway out. It's the moment you draw the line between the life you've been tolerating and the life you were born to build, between discipline, fork in the road. Not success or failure, not luck or talent. The real war is discipline versus drama. One builds, one destroys. One is structure, the other chaos. One is you in control, the other is your emotions steering the wheel. One makes you unstoppable. The other leaves you stuck, explaining to the world why you can't seem to move forward. Drama is easy. That's why people cling to it. It gives them an excuse to avoid responsibility. It keeps them emotionally high but mentally low. Drama feeds your ego but starves your purpose. It feels urgent, intense, seductive, but it always leaves you drained, distracted, empty. Drama is the addiction to attention, to reaction, to external validation. It's the story you keep telling instead of writing a new one. It's the mess you keep managing because deep down, you're afraid of the quiet discipline requires. Because discipline doesn't come with applause. Discipline doesn't come with an audience. It's lonely. It's boring. It's repetition. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work without the need to post about it. It's becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to chase drama because you're too locked in on becoming dangerous in your field, powerful in your presence, unshakable in your mind. And that's the final decision you have to make. Who are you going to be? The person who reacts, complains, gossips, blames, makes excuses, breaks when life isn't fair? Or the person who remains unmoved, focused, calculating, relentless, regardless of who's watching, regardless of what's happening, regardless of how they feel? You don't rise by accident, you rise by decision, not once, but daily, moment by moment. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a contract, and the real ones sign it with sweat, silence, and sacrifice. They don't need motivation. They don't need hype. They don't need drama. They choose structure. They choose pain now so they can taste peace later. They choose loneliness now so they can stand in real confidence later. They choose order now so chaos doesn't control them later. And that's the truth. If you don't choose discipline, you've already chosen drama. If you don't wake up and own your routine, your emotions will own you. If you don't lock in on purpose, you'll get dragged into pointless situations over and over again, calling it life, when really it's just your refusal to grow. You say you want peace. Good. That means you've got to kill the parts of you that love chaos. You say you want success. Then stop flirting with habits that break your momentum. You say you want clarity. Then stop entertaining every distraction that looks exciting but takes you nowhere. Discipline is the gateway to peace, to progress, to power. It's the key that unlocks everything you say you want. And yes, it's hard. Of course it's hard. That's why it's rare. That's why most people stay broke. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because they're allergic to structure. They want the reward but not the routine. They want the body but not the discipline. The business but not the process. The clarity but not the cutting off. The growth but not the grief that comes with leaving behind the old self. But not you. Not anymore. You're not here to be normal. You're not here to repeat your story. You're here to evolve, to choose power over pity, to choose building over blaming, to choose strategy over sensitivity. You're here to do what most people refuse to do, trade comfort for control. And here's what no one tells you: discipline eventually becomes freedom. What starts as a burden becomes your armor. What feels like restriction becomes your protection. Because when you live disciplined, you don't get pulled into every storm. You don't get caught up in petty emotions. You don't crumble under pressure. You don't beg for peace. You become it. You don't chase validation. You earn respect. You don't panic when things fall apart. You rebuild because you've trained for the collapse. Drama will tempt you. Always. It's loud. It's familiar. It gives you someone to blame. It lets you feel important. But it costs you everything. And the deeper you go into discipline, the more clearly you see how small and hollow drama really is. It's the playground for people who haven't made a decision. It's where the lost gather and call each other real. But the real ones, they're not there. They're busy sharpening their craft, staying dangerous, staying silent, stacking wins in the dark. So let this be the line. Let this be the final decision. Let this be the moment you say, no more, no more chaos. No more excuses. No more emotional breakdowns over temporary situations. No more entertaining clowns when I'm trying to build a kingdom. No more pouring energy into drama when I could be pouring it into discipline. No more sacrificing my future for short-term reactions. You're not here to be reactive. You're here to be relentless. You're not here to participate in every conflict. You're here to master your mission. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. And that means your life is going to look different. Your days are going to feel different. Your circle is going to change. Your language, your routines, your mood. Everything is going to be different, because the version of you that builds something powerful does not operate like the version of you that just survives. So what do you want more? The hit of being emotional, or the high of being elite? The comfort of the same cycle, or the challenge of becoming who you were always meant to be? That's the choice. That's the decision. And no one can make it for you. But once you make it, really make it, the game changes. You stop showing up with half your fire. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't even in the arena. You stop reacting to every small thing and start moving with brutal clarity. You stop looking back, because now you're owned by your mission. You're not here to play with your potential anymore. You're here to cash in on it. With discipline, with silence, with focus, with daily ruthless execution. And it will get lonely, it will get hard, but you will feel alive, because now you're building something real, something unbreakable, something that can't be taken from you. Discipline is the foundation of that. It's the final decision that unlocks the door. So choose it, today, and tomorrow, and every day after that. No more drama. Just discipline, forever.